Wonder about the future and how you'll be working and learning? Welcome to You in 2042, the future of work, with your host, Danielle Wallace.
Hello and welcome to You in 2042, the future of work. Joining me today is Russell Harvey.
So I am the resilience coach, Danielle, not any old resilience coach. I am the resilience coach. I specialize in leadership coaching and how to lead yourself and others well in a full-on crazy, mad, bonkers world, essentially.
Russell, that is so much fun. And as we think about leading ourselves and leading others, as we progress into the future of this crazy, chaotic world, how do you see things like executive coaching evolving to meet these demands of the future leader?
Yes, I was really thinking about this going forward. So in this whole field of learning development, seeing a lot of things out there around, okay, so in this busy, full-on world, we need to fit in micro learning. And then alongside that, in terms of answering your question around executive coaching, the point and purpose of exec coaching is a one-on-one conversation that doesn't have any timescales to it. It is a time to reflect. It is a time to actually think. It is a time to pause. So how I actually believe exec coaching should evolve is actually in pushing back against this idea of having to do micro learning quick, fast, because exec coaching is actually to step away from all of this craziness and all of this full-onness and do everything fast and do everything now and actually go and have a really quality, in-depth, reflective, proper conversation about what's going on for me, how do I think, how do I feel, am I happy with, what am I not happy with, where do I need to get to? So it needs to evolve so it makes sure that it enables leaders to step off the hamster wheel and then have a great reflective conversation and step back onto the hamster wheel, or even never get back on the hamster wheel.
The hamster wheel is something I'm sure many of our listeners, many of us can relate to. In this increasingly complex, unpredictable world, I've heard so much, Russell, about this idea of resilience as a key trait for leaders. How do you think then resilience training will evolve in the future, and what strategies might be essential?
Yeah, it really needs to stop being a buzzword and it needs to be something really concrete and tangible. So I get so many different requests from organizations and people and leaders and teams just to say, we've got an away day, we're packing all these things in that we need to. We've got 10 minutes, we've got 30 seconds, we've got half an hour. Can you come in and just make us resilient in that time? And so it's literally, I have to go, no, I can't make you resilient in that short period of time. I can share some things with you. So there's a lot of the time I might say no to that. There's a lot of time with a bit of a chat with a prospective client, if I can get them to go, actually, we could make a start. Yeah, we could put something in for half an hour on your away day. However, let's actually do something absolutely real around it. And I think where resilience training needs to evolve to is actually better conversations with senior leadership teams about what does it actually mean to be a resilient organization. So I'm concerned that we have well-being strategies. There are heads of well-being that are job titles out there. But I am concerned that an organization will sort of say, our culture is like this. It's not the best culture that it is. We need to put in a well-being strategy to compensate for our poor culture. Okay. But actually, you can do away with a well-being strategy if you make the decision as a senior leadership team to go, do you know what? We are truly going to look at what it means to be a resilient organization, because a resilient organization, their people are well. They are engaged. They are enthusiastic. They are playing to their strengths. There's trust. There's psychological safety. So you don't need a separate well-being strategy. So going forward, resilience training, needs to evolve so that everybody that's in the same sphere as me is actually positively challenging leadership teams and organizations to step away from resilience as a buzzword and a quick fix, because it isn't, and actually a tangible, concrete, we need to build a resilient organization. And then a resilient organization gives itself the best opportunity to be future-proof, because it actually does adapt. It actually understands how it can adapt and what it needs to do. And it does one of these things called situational awareness, which is forward thinking, literally eyesight. It's great at understanding actually what might be happening in the future, understanding actually how it might impact us now, actually understanding how it might impact us in the future. So you use situational awareness to do hindsight, insight, and foresight, essentially.
So this idea of a resilient organization can really help organizations have this future view while also better addressing not just resilience as a Band-Aid or well-being as a Band-Aid solution, but getting to the heart of the organizational health and vitality.
Absolutely. Yes, you've nailed it. So they actually achieve what they need to do to be able to lead themselves and others well in a full-on crazy world, because change is constant, but it's a much better way of actually looking at that, and rather than just sort of saying it as literally a sentence that we drop into a room and go, change is constant, deal with it. It's actually, do you know what? Let's really unpick. What does it really mean to say that change is constant? How does that actually impact us day to day? How does that impact how we behave now, how we're going to behave tomorrow, what we're going to do next week? How does it inform our strategy, essentially? And yeah, absolutely. It enables you to be that future organization.
And then one of the things I'm seeing a lot as we have this world of when change is constant is even the types of work and where people are working, how people are working. I've seen a lot of this rise of remote work and the gig economy. So what new career paths do you foresee emerging in the future? Maybe how can career coaching support that?
Yeah, absolutely. So career coaching absolutely does need to support that. So it's a variety of ways in which you can do that. So resilience career coaching can support that. But there's just an additional bit first about, before we think about the future, one of the things we need to understand about resilience is it is about recovery from adverse events. Okay. So that's part of being resilient, recovery, recuperating, re-energizing. And I define resilience as springing forward with learning. I'm not a fan of the term bounce back, because it's a subconscious instruction to our brains that go, we're faced into this and then we're going to go back to how we were, and you can't. Okay. So I'm curious to understand. I have an opinion that actually I don't think the world, organizations, enough people have truly recovered from the pandemic. I'm not sure that that's actually the case. We have moved on from it to the next thing, the next problem, the next worry, the next challenge, but actually we need to recover from it. So I just wanted to put that in there as part of my response to your question. And then therefore, in terms of future focus, yeah, change is constant. It's going to be driven to some extent, but we don't know yet how, by artificial intelligence. So everything has there's the law of positive unintended consequences and negative unintended consequences, essentially. So from the pandemic, some of the positive unintended consequences is actually the way that we work has got better in terms of when an organization does hybrid well, really truly understands actually when is it the right thing to be face to face and when is it the right thing to be remote. So when you truly learn what's worked well for you in terms of working practices as a result of what the pandemic forced you to do. But there's also an awful lot of organizations that I keep getting loads and loads of inquiries of we've fallen into traps of inappropriate behaviors, of literally just how to line manage people remotely. And I'm going, well, it's no different to line manage them face to face. But we've forgotten this, essentially. So once again, if you use your situational awareness, your foresight, to just keep an eye on what direction of travel is artificial intelligence going in. You have to just keep looking at it and keep seeing that. That will inform actually what some new roles might be that come up. And how career coaching is really going to support this is very much about, and specifically resilience career coaching, is to really support people to do one of the dimensions of resilience, which is their purpose. So resilient people have a purpose. Mine is to positively affect 100,000 people by the year 2025. And right now I'm up to 76,312-ish. That's my purpose. And that is my head, my heart, and my gut in alignment. about who I am, what I do, and my reason for getting out of bed. So career coaching, okay, is going to be supporting individuals with their situational awareness, their hindsight, insight, and foresight to go, actually, what are my strengths? And I said at the top of our conversation, my top 3 strengths are. So it's really supporting people to understand actually what their strengths are, and then discovering what might be a role actually that enables them to play to their strengths and meet their purpose, and then they're feeling resilient. Or understanding actually if a role doesn't currently exist that enables them to play to their strengths, they're going to have to create one for themselves. And that's either setting up their own business, or it is about actually having a different conversation with your line manager to go, there isn't a job in this organization currently, with everything that's going on or the changes, that satisfies me. So could I write one down and show it to you, and we'll agree a way forward around it? An additional thing about just thinking about how I am observing different generations coming through right now. So I live in Leeds in Yorkshire, and it's got a massive university city. There's 3 universities in it. And I just live close to one of the university campuses, which is all about physical education. Okay. So each year I see students coming through that look phenomenally fit and healthy. So if you imagine students, they're normally going to the pub. And if I would go back to my days as being a student, I never went jogging. I never literally ate healthily. I literally just went to the university student union bar and just spent all day, every day in there, essentially. But I observe the students coming through each year. They look absolutely Instagram gorgeous. Yeah. They've got the bodies, and it's like they're running and they're fit and they're healthy. They're also going to the pub. But the research shows that whilst physically they look great, their mental health is poor. Their mental health is on the floor. Okay. Now, in theory, we have been talking for a long time about physically exercise, endorphins, serotonin, dopamine. It helps you to physically exercise. So they're doing that, but they're also sharing, mental health is terrible. So we've got a contradiction that's going on there. So the resilient career coaching going forward is really vital to support this next generation coming through to go, actually, let's really genuinely discover how come the traditional sort of wisdom of physically looking after yourself improves your mental health. Because at the moment, there's a lot of commentary around actually that's not working.
And so with that future generation in mind, it seems like this idea of building resilient skills now become even more critical.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I know that I'm completely biased on this, but you must find a way to engage with what I call your resilience wheel. So if anybody asks me, so Russell, how do I build my resilience? I go, there's this wheel. It's on my website. It's got 7 bits to it. It's built upon research, essentially, about this is what makes a resilient person. And I've mentioned one about purpose, and the other 6 very quickly are heart resilience is your attitude. There's purpose. There's the word confidence. There's the word adaptability. There's your support network, which is about meaning, which is our internal storytelling, our internal frame of reference. And this word energy, which I predominantly link to strengths-based approach, okay, as in your natural energizers. So people in the US may be more familiar with Strengths Finder, and there's one in the UK called Strength Scope. But this is about what your natural energizers are. So what resilient people do to build their resiliency skills is they make the choice to, on a regular basis, engage with their resilience wheel and understand actually which parts of their resilience wheel are in a good place already and build upon the good and do more of that, and which parts of their resilience wheel they would actually like to be better and do something around that. And it's a living, breathing thing that you just need to keep looking at. And one of the ones that's more significant around this is the word adaptability. So research shows that actually those individuals now who can legitimately state that they are thriving rather than coping and surviving, it's because they spend a third of their time engaging with their adaptability. And adaptability is openness to change. Another tiny little bit of an addition to that is that adaptability is openness to change, but it's not necessarily doing the change. So agile is doing the change quickly. So when you engage with your adaptability, you get better at agility too.
So those are all part of the skills. And that wheel you speak to actually seems like something that might be really useful for many of us.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Russell, with that, where can people learn more about you?
So literally, if you put into search engine, theresiliencecoach.co.uk, that's where you'll find me. On all of the socials, it's The Resilience Coach. That's where you'll find me. I've got my own podcast, Series 1, on the homepage of my website, and that is me actually talking through each of the 7 aspects of the wheel.
Amazing. I can't wait to check that out, as well as your podcast. Thanks so much for your great insights. I really have a lot to think about that I'll take away. Thank you.
Good. That's my intention. And so, yes, when people are listening, if I've positively affected you, you know, and I can add you into the pot of 100,000.
Thank you for being a part of the future. Subscribe now to stay current.